All right, let's go check out some other airplanes.
Yeah.
Oh, super. Take your time.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Got it made.
Good job. Okay, so we're going to go see another Russian guy, but anyway, I think you'll appreciate this, and I'm interested to learn about what you know about this because I really don't know as much as I should. So this is a sheet metal shop, and I've got a guy that's like a sheet metal magician, Rick Reeves.
I want that one for Christmas.
Oh, you do? Love this. I love flying this airplane. Oh my gosh! And we just got it back about to where it's about out of annual or about out of an annual inspection. We're going to start flying it again. This is a CW-19. Okay. I also have a CW-22, which is almost the same airplane, but it's got retractable landing gear. So this flies like a little fighter.
Yeah.
It's got a 450 horse on the front. SOP with pup. I fly airplanes with rotary engines. The SOP with Snipe over there, flew that. There's a favorite little one back in the corner. I remember you talking about earlier, that little...
oh, the Bucher.
Yeah.
Oh, my golly.
That is the nicest balanced flying airplane I've ever flown.
Well, we'll see the Bucher on the way out.
Okay, so now I want you to see if you can tell me what kind of an airplane it is, but I'm going to give you a hint. It was a Russian designer that had a very similar story of your dad. The giveaway, it's written on the side.
Yeah. There are not many of them left.
There's 3. This is the only one that'll ever fly. The other one's in the museum in Sweden, and the U.S. Air Force Museum has a P-35. This is it's a Seversky.
Yeah.
And they built like 120 prior to the war. They delivered 60 to the Swedish Air Force, and then the war started, and then the U.S. said, we're not sending them over there. We're afraid the enemy's going to get them.
Yeah.
So they redesignated them as European Pursuit 106s. They called them P-35As. They sent them to the Philippines, and they were there on the opening day of the war, which was
slaughtered.
December 8th, so.
Yeah. And they got slaughtered as a... They couldn't match the 0.
No. So this got, but the skin of this has got a lot of corrosion and stuff, so every rivet in this airplane is going to be replaced. And we've already started, but the inside structure it's almost, I'd say, more than 95% of it we're going to reuse, but all the skin's going to go. And it's interesting because back in the days, and you could attest to this, but early on, every factory had its own rivet design. And what happened is by the time World War II came around, the government said, well, this is stupid. Seversky's got a rivet, Boeing's got a rivet, blah, blah, blah. We need to standardize all the rivets because they're fixing airplanes in the field. So they did that. They don't make these rivets anymore. So I had the rivets made and the sets made to make the Seversky rivets, okay? So that's the anal detail that we go to. But as you can see, a lot of you can see this one still has the Swedish markings in it and everything.
Boy. Oh, for God's sake.
This is going to be just a magnificent restoration. It's been a long-term restoration. My museum got trashed in Hurricane Andrew. This is damage from the hurricane. It was a Hurricane 5 that came through Miami.
It hurt you badly.
Here's the wing jig. I want you to come and I want you to check this out. So this is going back together. Look at that. Look at that. You can shave in that. It's a mirror. I mean, look at yourself. Is that awesome or what?
Oh, absolutely.
So
work of art.
Oh my God. So tell me a little bit about The relationship between Sikorsky and Seversky, is there anything other than the fact that they were Russian and they started with S's?
No, they were Russian. They knew each other.
Yeah?
But
Did they know each other in the...
They heard of each other.
Okay, in the World War I period.
World War I period, but they never met, and when the revolution started, Alexander Seversky had to go one direction, Dad went in the other direction. They did meet again, obviously.
When you say in different directions, you mean to get out of the country?
To get out of the country.
I see, okay.
Yeah, Dad went up north, Murmansk, and Seversky, I think, went south through Austria into Russia, Ukraine, Austria, and then out that way. But they didn't meet literally until after they both had immigrated to the United States.
And so about what year? In the 20s or 30s?
20s.
Yeah, okay.
They would meet, I would guess, around 1925, 1926.
Okay, pre-Lindbergh.
Yeah, and pre-Lindbergh.
Yeah, so they were both really getting on their feet, really.
Yeah, what happened was interesting. I can get you some of the details on it. Seversky was World War I Navy ace, lost one leg in a crash, was then invalidated as far as Russian Imperial Air Force. He then ended up in the United States, and he ended up with a friend who was an optical genius, a Russian refugee, and this optical genius built a very, very rough, but for that time, a very advanced bomb sight. And Seversky, who had gotten out with a little bit of money, helped finance him. This guy, the Russian, continued experimenting with his bomb sight. Seversky kept slowly, very limitedly supporting him. Seversky began to get interested in aviation, reinterested in aviation, got himself a license, and spent some time barnstorming and flying, and then eventually got enough money together after Lindbergh to start his own little aircraft company.
Huh. And what were his first couple of airplanes? Because this is a fairly sophisticated airplane.
It is a sophisticated airplane. I believe that he did at least one small two-seat, high-wing, sort of an air tourer type thing. Like maybe the old Cessnas and things of that sort. Dad was working at Roosevelt Field. Dad was kick-started, you may remember, by a magnificent loan, totally unexpected loan from great concert pianist Sergei Rachmaninoff.
Ah, wow.
Rachmaninoff came to the chicken farm where Dad was working evenings, weekends with about 10 Russians, and they were building Dad's first aircraft in America.
I'll be darned.
And it was being done with promises, and it was done that the owner of the farm, who happened to be a white Russian who got out with quite a bit of money because of the fact he was already in Washington. He was a Russian Imperial Naval Attaché to the United States. He already had bought a home in Long Island.
Stayed there.
And just stayed there.
I'll be darned.
And Dad worked on that. The Russian naval officer gave Dad a corner of the chicken farm, and that's where the first Sikorsky aircraft was built, the S-29A. And Seversky was building a tiny little series of tiny little onesies and twosies aircraft. Seversky hit big time with the first of his fighter float planes, you may remember, where he put something that looked like the 35 on floats, amphibious floats.
Really?
Yeah, and weren't ahead. I think Edo, Mr. Osborne of Edo aircraft fame, was helping him with this float plane design.
Wow, this sounds like a very incestuous group here that we're learning about.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, then, but of course you had to go. And remember, if you're a well-educated Irishman, to start trying to differentiate between Sergeyevsky and Sikorsky and Seversky, you went nuts. Trying to figure out who was doing what at what time.
That's right. Okay, S1, S2, and S3, or S, what is it, Dva, Tre, Chere.
Yeah.
I mean, so a lot of times what people do, they blow the airplane apart into a million pieces, then they start on the fuselage, then they start building the little pieces, then put it back. What we did on this one, we realized it was going to be a long-term project. We would take a piece off, totally restore it, put it in a bag, and put it away. And then it allowed us to take another piece off. And this one's really been done that way, so we haven't lost anything. And when we finally get done with the last piece, it all just bolts back together again, which is actually a really pretty cool way of doing it. So. Anyway, so let's go. And one of the things that we do is we want to keep a lot of these skills alive. I mean, my guy here uses the English wheel. We've got Yoder hammer, spot welders, hot dimplers, leading edge rollers, presses. I want to be able to do everything that they did back then, not to just basically not only to be able to do it the way they did it, but to share the way we used to do things. Because these airplanes...
This is a lost art,
And exactly what you said. These don't have any socially redeeming value to society anymore. But to me, everything that we do here is an expression of art. It's an expression of the human experience. It's pretty cool that I can jump in my painting and go fly around the patch, I mean, that's the way I look at it anyway. Okay, come on, I got another cool airplane I want to show you. Just really quick, this is our wood shop. And we're actually, this airplane over here was one of the airplanes that was in the Great Waldo Pepper. You remember the yellow biplanes, the standard J1s? It was a World War I trainer that was kind of alongside the Curtiss Jenny. So that's going together.
Man, that also is a lost art.
Yeah. Oh, well, we got some pretty cool people. Another Curtiss pusher, auto gyro back there. There's a cool Russian airplane.
Polikarpov P-02.
Podva. Yeah.
Podva.
That has such a great history with what the Noctex and the Night
It's a
Witches
very heavy
did.
beast on the controls, though.
I like flying it. I really like it. But you know what I can't figure out is they fly it from the front. And you would think you'd fly it from the back like a Cub because the CG of the pilot would be in the deal. And when I was hopping it down the runway, I'm going, no, you got to fly it from the back. And then they fly it from the front, so I fly it from the front. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going over this other hangar really quick. And before we will go in, I want to make sure that the lights are on.
Ooh.
Okay, I have a surprise for you, Sergei.
Okay.
Well, first of all, this isn't a surprise, but we're redoing a Curtiss Jenny, okay?
Oh.
So that's pretty cool. So we now not only have the Curtiss Jenny, but we got the standard J1 too. So I flew this in Miami a bit, as well as the standard J1. And we've got different, different parts around here.
Reminds me of an old friend named Buzz Kaplan.
Yeah.
I know he bought the farm on a restored Jenny. Do you
I own that airplane. I own that airplane now. I bought it from Brent Langer, who was one of the guys that was building the S-38, okay? And I did not realize it. Do you know that picture you've seen, and it's got the Curtiss Jenny stuck in the tree, and it says flying, blah, blah, blah? That's the airplane that was in the tree.
No.
Yeah, I got it across the street. Is that cool or what? Okay, so now, I want you to look down a little bit. Okay, look down. That's the QEC off the P-35. Okay, don't look yet. Okay. That's what we're restoring. Is that cool or what? So we got the wings over here. That wing's out. This wing's slightly coming apart, okay? This is an original German one. This is not a Nord.
Not the French.
This is a Bf-108. And this came out of Chile. And
Out of Chile?
Yeah, it was shipped over, I think, before the war started. The war started, and and I've got a couple of Argus engines. I've got one sitting over here ready to go in it. I've got this one came at some point. They put a fixed pitch wooden prop on it, but I've actually got the guys over at Garrett Muhlbauer is a friend of mine that runs, you know, MT Propeller, and the guys in Germany were restoring one over there, and they wanted to build one from scratch because they couldn't run it. So they restored my propeller for me for free. I've got I got an overhauled engine already. There was another guy that wanted to borrow my cowlings to do a conversion over there, so those got restored. So anyway, I had all these parts that were already done, and Paul, who you met earlier, we're doing a tour. Paul's pretty much heading up the restoration on this. So, you know, we've got some fuel tanks out, and we've got some work we're doing on those. This is all the original German stuff from the factory.
What do you have a feel for a serial number? What
we know exactly the history of the thing and all that.
Oh.
I don't know offhand what it was, but it was interesting when we were uncovering some of the control surfaces on the back. The gentleman that owned it in Chile, his name was Otto Weiss. Okay, he was a German. And the family eventually contacted us, and it was like the son or the grandkids or whatever. But anyway, the long and the short of it was, you know, I cut the rudder fabric off. It says Otto Weiss on it. We sent it down there. I got a picture of him standing down there, you know, I signed it on the back, you know, saying thanks for taking care of her. But anyway, I mean, you can walk up a little, just take a little bit of a peek inside. Yeah, just a little bit. It should be okay if you put a little weight on it. But, you know, I've not flown one. You have, and I know you said you love this airplane.
Oh, I did. Well, you climb into the airplane, you start the engine, you do your pre-flight check. You have two great big bicycle wheels.
Yeah.
And you trim.
Which I think are out here. They're over there.
Yeah. That's it. And then you pour the coal to it. You, generally speaking, don't need flaps on takeoff.
Right.
But you can trim very beautifully. Immediately after you break ground, you start.
Yeah, landing gear. Got
42 strokes.
42, you counted them.
I counted them several hundreds of times. And then you get up. This aircraft beat the pants. When I was based in Germany, one of my good friends, became good friends, was famous German Luftwaffe pilot, General Adolf Galland.
Yeah, big time.
And Galland had a beach bonanza, and I had a Typhoon. And I would beat the pants off that bed.
This is the German bonanza, I thought.
Yeah, it's a German bonanza, but 30 years earlier.
Yeah, amazing.
It actually, and this is a fact, Hermann Göring had one personal aircraft. By the way, I don't know if you have the seats here, but the Typhoon that I had.
This is all the original German stuff. They're around here somewhere.
Yeah, red leather seats.
Ours was all blue leather.
Yeah.
This one, of course, it would have been a civilian one. It was a pre-war. This was a civilian airplane as it came out of the factory.
Yeah, well, mine was red leather. Supposedly, by legend, the seats were made by the same upholsterers that did the luxury Mercedes-Benz cars.
Wow.
Pretty good, pretty good.
Unreal. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, it was interesting. One of the things that is fascinating about the construction of this is it actually laps, they lap backwards, and I think the Germans had decided that it created a bow wave and it was less drag this way than lapping it in reverse, which created, some suction, I guess.
Yeah, well.
It was more drag. Anyway.
Whatever it is. Well, if you get tired of it, let me know. I'll buy it.
Oh, yeah,
I'll sell my house and my...
Yeah. So how long did you own it, and how much did you fly it?
Probably I had it 2 years. I probably put about 180 hours on it. A good amount. Because once in a while, to me, it was just such a delight to fly that I'd run away from home or run away from the office and go off and fly this thing.
Wow.
And yeah.
That's awesome.
Let's see, windshield folds out that away.
Yeah, they all went back. I'm trying to see if we have any parts laying around. The fuel tanks were, we've had to cut them open because there was a lot of trash in the bottom. Some of them were dinged up and stuff.
There's your hood.
Trim wheels, rudder there, a lot of the instrument panel, some of the landing gear things. Overall, this is a great restoration. Here's some of the, this will.
Oh yeah, that's the cockpit covers.
This was the tank that we took out. This was not standard. And I got an overhauled engine already for it.
Yeah, well, the Argus Motorenwerke.
Yeah, here's some of the cowling that's already been redone. I think that's probably the oil tank. You can see and this airplane went through a ground loop, so we're dealing with a little bit. They fixed things, but not really nicely, so.
That is great.
Anyway, so
I'll tell you one thing. If you ever decide to sell it, let me know if I'm still alive.
That's a good deal. Well,
if you fly it once, you'll never sell it.
Well, I tell you what, when I fly it, then I'm going to give you a call, and you're going to come back and go fly with me, okay? That sounds like a good deal. Is that a deal?
That's a deal.
That's a deal. Okay, all right, let's go get some dinner. Thank you so much for coming out. And recording this, for future people and stuff. It's awesome. I appreciate it.
I think right now the legacy, for me, the rescue capabilities of the helicopter remain the number one. I think it also is mirrored because when you talk to the people at Sikorsky Aircraft, the question is, what are you proudest of? The answer is always the rescue, the medevac, the humanitarian role of the helicopter.